So dealing with offense with God, that's a pretty bad place to be. I've been there several times myself, and I really hate it because it's one of those things where when you're offended with God, who's, in my life anyway, is my rock, my hiding place, the person that I run to for everything. And so when I'm offended with him, it means I have no outlet, I have nothing. And so the one situation that is what it is, just a situation, I could deal with it, get over it right then and there. And that doesn't happen because I'm offended with the one that I connect with. So that could easily turn into days, weeks, months, and it becomes a bad season in your life. You know, I'm sure you can relate to this or know some people who, who are believers, but it's like, I'm not in a good headspace right now, or I'm in a bad place. And usually that happens because they have offense with God that they haven't actually tackled or dealt with or learned how to deal with and how to bring it to him. And so the question becomes, what do you do when you're offended with the Lord? And it's not a formula or a straightforward answer, but it's more so a journey and a process that you have to take. And I just want to share from my own life. There was a particular situation where there were certain things that I put in my mind, and it was like, those are the untouchables. Like, God would never do this to me. God would never allow this to happen. And, everyone usually, I can't say everyone, but some people may have that mentality of, oh, God, because I'm a child of God, so-and-so will never happen. This will never happen. That will never happen. And when it does, it's such a shock to the system. It's like, I can't believe you did that, and I'm not going to talk to you. It's that simple, because I'm mad at you. And and the problem is I can't be mad at you because you're God. And it's the most frustrating place to be, because it feels like I'm always wrong because you're always right. So what do you do with that? So I remember there was a situation where we were in a season of our life, and I really, I just had my kids, my babies, and I was really tired and just believing God for some help, just some help, because I was so physically drained. And God was faithful, and I actually did get help, and I had people, support me, help me around the house, looking after the kids and all of that. And it came to the point where I couldn't afford it anymore. And in my head, it was like, childcare is an untouchable, because God knows how tired I am. And when I couldn't have it anymore, I was devastated. Now, this might sound silly to you, and in hindsight, it is silly, to be honest. But I think because of the magnitude of my exhaustion, it was a real problem at the time. And I was so upset. I was so mad and upset. I couldn't talk to. I was so mad. I couldn't talk to my husband. I just couldn't function because I was so upset. And it came to the point when I was like, I had to deal with the fact that, okay, fine, I'm gonna have to let this go. I can't have childcare anymore. I just completely broke down. And I was like, Lord, I've sacrificed and I've given a lot for you. Why are you taking everything away from me? And I just literally sat down and I was like, rather than pushing him out, let me just address him in this. I was like, why are you doing this to me, Lord? I don't understand. This is really painful. And the Lord simply said to me, your love for me is not unconditional. It's based on all these conditions. It's like, when I have given everything for you, I've laid down my life when I didn't even have to. And he wasn't even saying it in a proudful way or a rebuking way. He was just sharing his heart with me. And that really cut me to the heart. It really, really did. And he was just like, yeah, so I've given up everything for you. I've given up my life for you. And so what he then said to me was, give me your deal breakers. You have certain things in your thinking and in your mindset that I would never touch. What happens if I do take that away from you? Are you going to walk away from me? Are you going to stop loving me with the same first love that you had before? Is it going to affect our relationship? And I suddenly realized that I haven't given everything to God, and that moment, that situation, which could have been an opportunity for me to be offended with God, was actually an invitation from God for me to have a new revelation of who He is, but also it's an invitation for me to rise and to see the situation the way He does. And He began to sit down and talk to me, and He said, you don't need childcare. You can look after these kids by yourself. You just need to fix up in other areas. Discipline yourself. Go to bed in time. Go do this. Go do that. And when we sat down together and we did a whole plan of how I'm going to look after the kids, and it worked out, and I didn't need it. And after that, I was just like, you know what, God, that was such a big revelation for me. I was like, from now on, I'm going to choose to give you everything. Every time I feel like there's friction or offense with God, rather than me being offended with Him and just shutting down, and you'll see it in your life. How do you deal with conflict and offense with people, with the relationships that you have? Are you the type of person that actually resolves them, or do you actually shut down and you start throwing arrows and knives at everyone around you? And whatever you do with people, you will do with God, And so how do you deal with it? Like I was saying, it is a process, but, I thank God for His word, because there's always something that we can learn. And the king of, dealing with offense with God is David. And yes, he was a king as well. But I just want to quickly read from Psalm 22. I just love this guy because, and again, you have to read the word of God. Pick a version that ministers to you. Like, I understand there is, New King James Version and Amplified, and it's great for Bible study. But sometimes when you just feel like you want to connect with God, you need to make sure that whatever version you pick actually ministers to you and connects with you. So for me, that's the New Living Translation, because it's just simple English in the English that I would speak in today, And as soon as I started reading the Bible in NLT, it just opened it up in a whole new way, and it made it more relatable and real. And so now reading the Psalms, like I'm going to read Psalm 22, David just begins to say, my God, why have you abandoned me? Why are you so far away when I groan for help? I'm not going to read the whole psalm, but just to give you an idea, he goes and says as well, do not stay so far from me, for trouble is near, and no one else can help me. My strength is dried up. My tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth. And he goes on and on. And you see that what the Psalms are. It's literally, it's the picture of how we're supposed to deal with things in the presence of God. David didn't complain about God, he complained to Him. And in the process, the Psalms always end with praise. He goes on to say, the whole earth will acknowledge the Lord and return to Him. All the families of the nations will bow down before Him. And His righteous acts will be told to those not yet born. They will hear about everything He has done. And so I just want to encourage you as well. Don't be fazed, or rather, God isn't fazed by your emotions. And don't let His holiness intimidate you. You become holy when you spend time with the Holy One. But all this is to say, I just want to encourage you that whenever you are dealing with offense, if you have questions with God, if you feel like you don't understand something about Him, it's not the time to walk away from Him and say, God doesn't understand. No, He's saying, rise higher. Come and speak to me about it, because He wants to show Himself to you in a new way. Yeah.